Everybody, Chris Joslin here with the Bluegrass Music Hall of Fame and Museum in Owensboro, Kentucky. And we have a special Christmas show coming up December 13th here at the Hall of Fame, featuring a Kentucky native, Steven Curtis Chapman, and he's here with us today. Welcome, Steven. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you, Chris. Good to be with you all, and excited. Anytime I get to get near my old Kentucky home, even if it's over Zoom or however it is, it's good to be home.
Yeah. Well, it's good to have you here over Zoom today, and we're looking forward to having you here in the flesh on December 13th. A lot of folks don't know that you are a Kentucky native. You grew up in Paducah, and just like me, your musical journey was really a family affair. I mean, tell us about growing up making music with your family, and really how that got you started, and really maybe how that continues to shape how you approach music today.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I did, as you mentioned, grew up in Paducah. I was born in Paducah, Kentucky. My dad and mom both originally from that area. So my dad played music growing up. In fact, when he was in high school, he moved to Eastern Kentucky, said he got in his car, and I loved him and telling the story. He'd never really been out of Paducah, and he got in I think it was like a 32 Ford, that he was driving, and he was going to go live with an uncle for his senior year of high school, and go over to the other side of Kentucky. And he said he drove, and he said he remembers getting to I can't remember even what the town was, but he said he thought I surely must be there by now, to the other side of Kentucky. And he was about an hour out of Paducah, and he said that was his first big, realization that Kentucky's bigger than I thought it is, he went and spent some time there and played a lot of music, had a little radio program himself when he was in high school. And back in the day when, you'd get on the air and you'd spin a few records, but then he would play live in studio, get his guitar out and play some Hank Williams or whatever. And so, I grew up singing with my family. My dad owned a little music store, started out in Mayfield, Kentucky, and which is near Paducah. And then eventually moved it back home to Paducah, but we had always lived in Paducah. When I was about 7 years old, my family really, our faith became a real big part of our life. When I was younger, not so much. My dad was playing music on the weekends, bluegrass, folk music, and traveling around on weekends with his little group called the Village Singers. They performed a lot at the Village Inn up at Kentucky, at the Kentucky Lake area. And so that was kind of their stomping grounds. And but we started to sing together in church. I think he just saw he wanted to be in church with his family on the weekends, when music started to be a part of our language together as a family. And my dad, of course, taught me guitar lessons and moved his little music store to Paducah, Chapman Music. And so whenever I got a chance, I just, sat down with him and say, Dad, teach me something. And so I just took what little bit he gave me and took off running with it. And then started writing songs in high school. And that was kind of how I found my voice. My brother was really the singer. I was more the background guy, which I think is why I really focused on the music, the guitar particularly. But then eventually writing songs and eventually end up at Opryland. It's funny, I played the Opry last night, and we actually went and left the Opry house and went over to the big Opry Mills Mall and had dinner, my wife and I and another couple. And I was telling them, because they didn't even know about Opryland, I said, oh yeah, this parking lot and all this used to be a great theme park. And that's where I really got my professional music start, was playing there in Opryland, and played on the Grand Ole Opry stage when I was 19 the first time, and got to sing on the stage of the Opry. And so I was just there last night having all these memories come back. But yeah, it all started here on the banks of the Tennessee River in little river town, Paducah.
Yeah, that's great. Your Kentucky roots run deep for sure. That's great. So the show here at the Hall of Fame on December 13th, it's titled An Acoustic Christmas. Now, I know it's not a bluegrass show per se, but you seem very comfortable in that genre. I love the Deep Roots record that you made, Cracker Barrel, and then the follow-up. deeper roots, and that was nominated for a Grammy as well.
Yeah.
Awesome. But you've collaborated with some real heavy hitters in the bluegrass world on these.
Yeah.
Tell us about some of those folks.
Yeah, I've been so blessed. I mean, when I was a kid working at Opryland, I just mentioned, if someone had, told me then that, yeah, one of these days you'll, get to record with Ricky Skaggs and have him sing on a song you wrote on a bluegrass record you're going to make, I would have said, yeah, you're crazy. Because I was one of the biggest Ricky Skaggs fans there was when he came on the scene, bringing bluegrass into, a different, into country genre in a way nobody really had, at least to my knowledge. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. I was such a fan. And so I got to know Ricky and got to, play the Opry with him a few times. And then when I was making this record, I said, gosh, I would love it. Would you come do something with me? And so he did. And we, and along with him, I got to know Andy Leftwich through Ricky's band. And what a sweet, one of the just best human beings on the planet, besides being one of the greatest musicians I've ever worked with. And so got to know Andy, and way back in the day, Keith Sewell was playing with Ricky, and Keith, was playing guitar with Ricky when he was 19, 20 years old. And I got to know Keith and used him on some recordings, and then we just sort of didn't see each other forever, but he and Andy continued to stay really good friends. So I reconnected with Keith a little while ago, and he's actually playing with me now out on the road, and he'll be with me there when we play in Kentucky. So I'm excited. We have snuck quite a bit of bluegrass into my set now, just because I've got this world-class picker, and my longtime bass player who also plays cello, and he produced my 2 bluegrass records, Brent Milligan, who's a great upright bass player as well. He and singer. So the 3 of us, we get to sing in some, bluegrass harmonies, and we get to pick in some stuff. So it's really fun. I'm definitely, trying to, infuse as much as that as I can into my current show, because I've got these incredible pickers with me. But yeah, on the recording, I mean, I got to use all the, the best of the best. I mean, I had Justin Moses played some banjo, had now the names without looking at the list in front of me. Brian Sutton, had him come in and play on quite a bit of it with me. Of course, Andy, was all over it. Andy Leftwich, who's just one of my favorite, pickers in the world. And I'm trying to remember, I know Cody Kilby, we've done quite a few live things. Ricky and I did a thing together and put a band together and did a little Zoom sort of concert. And I'm thinking of a lot of the guys that were a part of that also have been. Matt Menifee is a great banjo picker that played on some stuff as well. So yeah, I was so incredible. In fact, those guys are so good. I fancy myself a picker, but when they start playing, I was kind of like, I don't know. I don't even know if I want to get my guitar out of the case, because these are like the real deal guys. They're kind enough to let me play along,
Well, we can't wait for the show. I know Keith plays a lot of different instruments too. So a lot of times with brass pickers, you get that as well. They may be proficient on 3, 4, 5, different acoustic.
Oh yeah. He's playing mandolin and banjo and actually playing some keys on this concert as well for me. There's a couple of songs like, man, I wish I had some keys. He's like, well, I play a little bit. And he sits down. Of course, he's great. And then last night we get on the bus pulling out to get back on the road, and he starts talking about he's got a Showbud pedal steel hat on. And I said, you play pedal steel? He said, oh yeah, a little bit. I'm like, you got to bring that out. We got to put that in. So, everything. I'm tapping him for everything he's got. I'm like, come on, bring the steel, bring the mandolin, bring the fiddle. He plays the fiddle, of course, incredible. So yeah, it's all.
Yeah, that pedal steel can be like a B3 in a hillbilly band. It's really fit everything up.
Yeah.
I know the circumstances over the past year and a half, it's part of everybody's story about how it's impacted our work and family life and really everything. So as a songwriter, a creative person, what's bubbled to the surface for you during the pandemic? I mean, you probably had a little more time at home at some point. Mm-hmm. How did that impact you as creatively through this season?
Yeah. Well, I know a lot of people, initially I heard, a lot of people saying, man, I'm going in the studio and, and getting busy, you know, because I can't go do anything else. And I did a few things. I did a collaboration. It was a blast. I still pinch myself. I got to do this, but I wrote a song called "Together We'll Get Through This," and I wanted to just kind of respond to what was going on and release the song myself. And it was I reached out to Brad Paisley, that we'd done a few things together, never done any music together, but had done a few, you know, events where we were together in a dressing room or kind of shared, you know, some space, and you know, knew that he was aware of my music. And of course, I'm a big fan of his playing and his music. And so I called him and said, "Would you come do this with me?" And he said, "Man, I'd love to." So he came and did it. And Lauren Elena, great country artist and really sweet, you know, lady of faith, came. And then Tasha Cobbs Leonard, who's an incredible gospel singer, came. And so the three of them joined me on this. We did a really cool collaboration. And so I did that, and I did a couple of things, but for the most part, during that, a lot of it, I was just, you know, I think we all felt this sense of, I don't know what's going to happen right now. Is this ever going to come back? Are we going to be able to do, you know, concerts again and do what we do? And so I think it was a time of really, for me, as you know, my faith, just going deeper and trusting God and saying, "Okay, God, I don't know what this is all going to look like, but I know that you're ultimately the one that's going to provide, take care of me and my family and our world and our nation. And this is just all so upside down. It was affecting everybody." And I wasn't one to immediately start getting all these creative song ideas, because I think I was more in a place of just, okay, what's going on? And really a lot of it was, you know, I think during that time, just trying to, I'm home with my wife. My daughter is in her last year or two of school, trying to just be with them, and spend time with them. But I did eventually start, I think what I didn't realize was a lot of ideas were bubbling around, you know, in me, because I did start writing probably within the last year, even as things kind of started to open up, and you felt like, hey, you know, I mean, we kind of started moving forward, and then we took the step back with the whole most recent, you know, the new variant and all of that. But there was that, you know, period where you start to feel like, hey, we're coming back, you know, back to life. And I think it was then that I started realizing that I've got a lot of ideas that have been bubbling around here. I just didn't realize. So I actually have been writing some new music. I'm going to make a new record next year, release a new album, 35 years from the year, the release of my first record in 1987. So we thought 35th year, that's a good time to release some new music and play some new songs.
That's great. Well, you know, with your live shows and with your, you know, with your songwriting and the records, you have a real gift for keeping things fresh, I think, creatively for your audience. For those who are longtime fans of Steven Curtis Chapman, what can they expect when they come to the show December 13th for Acoustic Christmas?
Yeah, well, and I've kind of already given a few spoiler alerts, I guess, but having these other pickers with me, you know, I love Christmas music. It's my, I love what it says. I love how it feels, how it makes you feel. There's no other music, you know, that can tap into more nostalgia, more memories, more, you know, childhood memories that come back. I can hear, you know, Nat King Cole singing, you know, all he has to sing is, you know, 4 words: chestnuts roasting on an open fire, or 5 words, I guess it is. But, you know, and I'm immediately like back at my grandmother's house, hearing that song and, you know, having the memories and seeing the tree. So I love what Christmas music can make you feel, but I also love so much just the truth of, especially the songs, you know, of faith that talk about our Savior and talk about, you know, the birth of hope. And we have been so desperate for hope. I feel like this is going to be a season. And I know you know, I got to do a few concerts last Christmas. It's like when you are most desperate for hope, that the old saying, you know, the light shines, you know, brightest when the night's the darkest. I think we are so desperate for the hope, and Christmas is just the explosion of hope. You know, God has come to be with us in our brokenness and our confusion and our darkness and all of this. And that's as true today as it was, you know, that first Christmas. And to be able to celebrate that, to be able to bring that to people with these songs, and then, you know, to do that with, I love making great music that people not only come and hear the songs they love, sing along with them, but I love watching people, just kind of go, wow, that's, those guys are great musicians. Those are great players. They've honed their craft. I mean, I go to the back of the bus last night, at 1 a.m, and, Keith Sewell sitting back there with his mandolin practicing, scales, I mean, it's just that those guys are always, and I'm surrounded by guys that are just great musicians who their craft is something, to really be, to appreciate. And in concert, you get to, I love watching people just be able to say, man, I've never heard, people play and sing like that, or, this is as good as it gets. I mean, I want to put on a great concert as well as having the truth and encouragement. I'm excited that, people would come and just get to hear some really great musicians playing some great music.
Well, you're right. There's a lot to sing about at Christmas time, isn't there?
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Well, on a side note, I know my wife and I, we took our little after dinner walk a couple of nights ago in the neighborhood. We noticed there were already Christmas lights up. So inquiring minds have to know, in the Chapman household, do you guys start early, or is it a kind of a rule that you wait till after Thanksgiving to start bringing out all the Christmas decorations from the attic?
Well, that is a constant source of, challenge in the Chapman home, because every year is different, because being on tour, you don't get to, am I going to do a Christmas tour? If I'm not doing a Christmas tour, or not on the tour in the fall, it's a little more, we can be a little more flexible. But, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, my wife said, all right, what day are we going to decorate the tree? Because there's every day is spoken for, and I'm either gone, I'm on the road, she's got stuff going on. So next Tuesday will be official Christmas decorate the tree, Chapman's decorate the Christmas tree, decorate the house day, Monday and Tuesday. But so we'll do it before Thanksgiving. I used to be a after Thanksgiving, like the weekend of Thanksgiving, kind of guy. But now we've got a daughter cheerleading at the University of Alabama. So I apologize to all those, Wildcat fans. I do have a little bit of Alabama here on me. So I have some blue in my closet, lots of UK blue, Wildcat blue. I thought my daughter was going to end up as a cheerleader at UK. That was her goal. And then some things changed, and we have one daughter, her big sister, that's at Alabama. And so she ended up at Alabama. And so she's cheering there, and we're making a lot of Saturday trips. Every game we can get to, we're going to see her. So yeah, so ours will be decorated by Christmas. I try not to listen to Christmas music until the day after Thanksgiving. That's it's not a hard and fast rule with me, especially because I write and record it. You got to be recording Christmas music in July, so you can't be too much of a stickler. But that's my preference. Is it really makes the most sense for me the day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Well, Steven Curtis Chapman performing live here at the Bluegrass Music Hall of Fame Museum, December 13th, an acoustic Christmas. There are some tickets left, but it is selling fast. It's going to be a sellout. So if you're interested, go to bluegrasshall.org and snag your tickets today, or you can just come down to the Hall of Fame anytime at the box office at the museum store, and they can help as well. Steven, thank you so much for spending some time with us today, and safe travels until you get here on December 13th. But we can't wait to host you here in this new building and welcome you back to your home state of Kentucky.
Thank you, Chris. Well, it's great to be with you, and it's going to be very, very good to get home to Kentucky for this Christmas in Kentucky. I actually wrote a song about that. I'll definitely be singing that one that night. But yeah, it'll be great to be home, and I appreciate you guys. Look forward to being with you.
Thank you. December 13th. See you then. Thanks.
All right. Bye-bye.